Hi everybody, and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This one's from user Throw-Array Pasta Tank. My female 27 best friend female 27 says my fiancé male 28 admitted feelings for her. He denies it. So I've been with my fiancé since I was 17, 10 years together, and I've been best friends with my friend since we were 8. Generally, they have gotten on fine throughout that time, until a few years ago when my friend picked me up after a few drinks one night. I hadn't known she was buzzed, and we got in a wreck. We were both fine, but he thinks she's irresponsible, so he's been just very formal and polite to her since then. When she comes to visit me, he goes into the other room to play video games or something. Anyways, about 2 weeks ago, she texted me and asked me to get lunch with her. Places are open in our area. I met up with her and she tells me that my fiancé told her that he had feelings for her and wanted them to be together, but she told him no. I was obviously upset and asked when this happened, where, did he message her, can I see the message, etc. She immediately got really angry with me, accusing me of not believing her when we've been friends so long. I asked that she at least tell me where and when this happened, even if there is no proof. And she refused, saying if after all this time of friendship I won't believe her, then I'm better off being with a dirty cheater, and stormed off before the food even got to the table. I went home to talk to my fiancé about it, really upset of course. He seemed genuinely confused about the accusation, from what I could tell, and asked when she is saying this happened since he's very rarely around her. The only time he ever sees her is if he walks through the living room to get food from the kitchen before going back to his office, and he's never been in the house with her alone. I admitted she wouldn't tell me because she thinks I should just believe her. I brought up that he could have messaged her, and he immediately handed me his phone and told me that if looking through it would help, to go ahead. I went through the whole thing and honestly, nothing. They're not even friends on any social media. He doesn't have any weird extra texting apps, no contacts that are weird in his phone. He does have her number in his phone, but there's no messages to her or any calls to or from her. He's also been working from home. I do all our shopping and running around, so only one of us has to go out. He has asthma, so he's really not gone out much the last year. We have security cameras at our place, so her dropping by without the system giving my phone an alert that there was a person is unlikely. So, unless he texted her and immediately deleted it, so she'd have proof I'd assume, he happened to run into her the 1 or 2 times he's been out in the last year, or he raced out of his office to proclaim his love to her while I was in the bathroom, I have no clue where this could have happened. I'm inclined to believe him, seeing as we've been together for 10 years. I can't think of when this happened, and she won't tell me anything else. Our mutual friends are divided, some saying it's suspect she won't tell me anything, but others saying as her best friend, I should believe her because there's no reason for her to lie. Whereas my fiancé would have a reason to if he did it. I don't know what to believe at this point. My friend is completely shut down on me. I called her trying to talk about it, but she told me not to contact her again unless I believe her, and hung up on me. My fiancé, on the other hand, has been completely open about everything. Part of me is wondering if she's lying because she knows he doesn't like her from what happened a few years ago and is trying to break us up. Then, part of me is wondering if he really did text her that and she is telling the truth and being so difficult for no apparent reason. Any advice on how to handle this? Yikes, okay OP, so here's the thing. Believe your boyfriend because your best friend is not your best friend and she is clearly lying. This is a huge relationship-ending accusation and she has no proof and gets mad when you ask for any proof? You didn't even accuse her or anything and she got angry with you. She even told you not to contact her again unless you believe her. I would assume if any decent person is in a situation like this, they would at least try to get some evidence to show their friend what's really going on with their partner. And in the case that the boyfriend just said this and the friend has no proof, then maybe later she would have sent him a text message to try to incriminate him or something to show her best friend, right? But no, she just says, You either believe me because we're friends or don't contact me again. This is like the worst use of the authority fallacy that I've seen here. You either believe me because we're friends or we're through. What do you guys think? Press like if you think the best friend is lying. Press dislike if you think the best friend is telling the truth. Alright, now let's move on to the community comments to see what they think. Going Hosty says, just my thoughts on this, but if she was telling you the truth, she'd easily give you details. The fact she just got angry right away and insisted you should believe her after her giving you news that would have been a total shock to you is insane. To me, it sounds like she decided to lie when you went to question her. She panicked and got mad. If I had to lay a bet, she isn't giving details because it never happened. She probably knows he doesn't leave the house. You'd know if she was there. Texting would leave evidence, which she doesn't have. And she hasn't been in the house or room alone with him for longer than 40 seconds. OP responds, honestly, that makes the most sense of this mess. I don't know why she would lie really. Whether it's she had feelings for him I never knew about, or is just mad at him for being mad at her. But I guess the reason why doesn't matter in how I should handle this. Savi Keep It Secret says, considering the timing and your friend's complete lack of evidence and sudden, oh my god, if you don't believe me, I hate you attitude, it seems like she desires your fiancé and envies you. Think about your friendship. Have people ever mentioned that she often mimics you? For instance, people used to tell me all the time that a friend that was interested in my boyfriend had begun acting, dressing, and talking like me. Close friends even called her off-brand me. Have you noticed any jealous actions, any minor resentment she may have towards you? Those are all tell signs of a manipulative friend. Also, how did she talk about your fiancé before? OP responds, I can't say she acts like me or anything, but since the accident she's brought up him acting weird around her, mentioning how he always goes to the other room, barely talks to her, etc. When prior to the accident he would go out with us, we'd all watch movies together or anything else. She eventually picked up that he was mad at her and has seemed bitter about it since. But I thought she'd let it go since she was still going to be in the wedding and I still spent a lot of time with her. I hadn't put any thought into her possibly having any feelings for him. I thought at most she was mad at him for being mad at her over the accident. Prior to the accident, she got along well with him. Told me she thought he was a good guy. After the accident, she'd mentioned him being grumpy, blaming her for no reason, not understanding that people make mistakes, etc. Since he didn't just forgive her like I did. Neil McBail lol says, it really does sound like your friend made it up. It's obvious that in a situation like that, when she told you, you would have been shocked and wanted more information, and if she was telling the truth, she would have done all she could to absolutely make you certain about it because a fiancé cheating, obviously, is a big deal. Also, what makes this story so improbable is that if he doesn't even like her character, they don't talk nor do they have a good friendship. At most, he could have wanted to have sex with her, not told her he had feelings for her. Like, what? When a boyfriend cheats, usually it's because of physical attraction that maybe can develop into feelings if the cheating continues. But I've only ever heard about a few specific cases like this. It was when a guy confessed to her best friend of 10 years rather than some B who got my girlfriend in an accident. OP responds, yeah, like honestly, if it happened prior to the accident, I think I would have been more likely to believe her, since we all hung out together and they both said good things about each other. Since the accident, he's made it clear to me he didn't want to even be around her, but tolerated her because I care about her. But part of me started questioning if he was only saying all that as some cover because he's had feelings for her. But that feels like I'm just overthinking at this point. Well, you already know what I think about this. This is just BS, and with this additional information that OP has given us, I definitely think that the best friend is trying to break them up because the boyfriend doesn't like her anymore because she put her life's friend in danger, which I absolutely agree with the boyfriend on this. I wouldn't want to be around somebody like that either. Anyways, let's move on to the update to see what happened after this. Well, I woke up the morning after the post and hadn't expected that many responses. I sat and read them all, and it was pretty unanimous that she was lying for some reason, and if she wasn't lying, she was being a crap friend for how she went about this. Some comments also really made me realize how much crap my fiancé has had to go through because of her presence in my life. So I woke him up and told him I believed him and apologized for letting this drag on like I did. I took the advice of someone and made a group chat, mine as the now ex-best friend, and sent them the post and just asked them that they read it. Most of them sort of waffled until one said had she not known either of us, it would be obvious who is lying, and they all agreed it was too suspicious. One of them called me shortly after asking me to meet up with her to talk, so I did. She is the one closest to ex-best friend other than myself. She basically told me ex-best friend has been complaining about my fiancé for like half a year to her, about how he's still mad, how he must be making me spend less time with her, that I'm going to marry someone that is actively trying to tear us apart as friends. She was able to show me some texts where ex-best friend was saying those sort of things, and one of her in her maid of honor dress with a text saying, "My dress for the funeral of our friendship." Then, leading up to now, where friend was asking her if it was true, and she was napping at her too through texts to stop questioning her, and it doesn't matter if she's lying anyway. Friend said she hadn't reached out to me prior because she thought after the wedding, ex-best friend would realize it wasn't as bad as she thought it was going to be. Then, when all this happened, she didn't think that texts were proof enough to show me and nuke our relationship. But the post made her feel bad for not showing them to me. So she gave me some of the screenshots and I went to ex-best friend's apartment myself to talk to her. She let me in and I asked her if she had anything to tell me before we went any further. She doubled down that she refuses to give me details, repeating the same stuff. So I told her I knew she was lying and had proof she was. Showed her the screenshots I had, which she accused other friend of photoshopping to make her look bad. Once I told her I'd read them in person off a friend's phone, she started going on about how everyone is trying to tear up our friendship after the accident and how it isn't fair on her. I told her maybe if she'd apologized and tried to make changes in her life instead of insisting for years it's not her fault and then coming up with this lie, maybe none of that would have happened. Told her that even had she been telling the truth, the way she chose to tell me and make this some crappy loyalty test instead of her telling me some of the most devastating news of my life shows she isn't a good friend to me. I forgave the accident because I cared for her and took it as a mistake. But obviously that care doesn't go both ways. I told her not to contact me again and that I told our friend group of everything going on. Sent them the screenshots and they can make their own decisions on who they do and don't want to spend time with based on the information they have. But I won't be seeing her again. I will be blocking her on everything and to not attempt to fix this because it's unforgivable. I still feel mentally and emotionally drained from all this, but there's also a massive weight lifted off my shoulders. As for the wedding, instead of choosing another friend in this group, I asked my fiancé's little sister to be my maid of honor, and she's very excited. Fiancé is also relieved he doesn't have to deal with ex-best friend anymore, and says he's just happy it's all settled. I'm not going to stay in contact with the one that showed me the texts either, since she hid all this and only showed me out of guilt. Maybe in time I can move past it, but right now I can't really look at her. It's not just that she didn't tell me right away. I just feel uncomfortable. I would spend time with the two of them a lot. And to know there were conversations about my fiancé, the wedding, the relationship, and our friendship going between them like that, just, yeah. The maid of honor dress photo, I'm literally next to her in the picture. She knew ex-best friend had these feelings so strongly, was my maid of honor, and essentially hated my partner at this point. Then, when ex-best friend told the whole friend group this situation, and they all came at me about not believing her and having to explain my side, and only half of them listened to me, she was one of the ones that said I should listen to ex-best friend. When she knew all the stuff ex-best friend had been saying and essentially confessing to her that it was a lie. She didn't do anything herself, but she watched it all happen until she felt too guilty. And right now, that just hurts, and I'm not sure I want her in my life. As for the rest of my doubting friends, I guess I'll see how it goes. Well, OP, you did the right thing by letting go of that ex-best friend who clearly was not your friend at all, and she was just lying about everything, then making up that lie about everyone turning against her. Come on, have some self-respect, please. And to that other friend that was covering for her and just came out with it when she was too guilty, that shows such a lack of character and moral fiber. It's a good thing you're also cutting her out of your life. I wouldn't forgive her either. She knew your best friend was lying to you about your fiancé having feelings for her, and she did nothing but actually urged you to believe the liar? F that person. So yeah, I agree with every single one of the decisions that you have made. All the best in your upcoming wedding. Stay safe and keep your guests safe. Take care, OP. And so we've reached the end of the video. I truly hope you liked it. If you did, leave a like. And don't forget to subscribe to reach our goal of 100,000 subscribers. Also, if you feel like chatting with others from this community, you can always join my Discord server and check out my subreddit. I'll leave the links in the description. And I'll see you guys in the next video.